All right, guys, I just wanted to make a video on my Survivor Season 42 tier list for the biggest potential winners. This is after episode 8, where Chanel was voted off. And this is going to be completely based on how much likelihood I feel like each person has to potentially win this game based off their gameplay so far and their edit. So let's just get straight into it. I'm very curious to see what your guys' tier lists are and if you guys agree with my assessment. But let's just go down the line, starting first with Drea. So Drea obviously has a lot of advantages right now, and she's put herself in a very good position in the game. She's in the majority alliance, and she's just doing an amazing job. For her right now, I'm going to put her in a pretty high spot. I'm going to put her in the B tier. And the reason I'm not putting her higher is that in terms of her edit, I feel like we haven't gotten a lot of confessionals where the viewers are made to really like her as a player. Obviously, she is very likable, but we haven't really gotten that kind of winner energy from her, at least in my opinion. I feel like she's going to be a huge player and making a big impact late into the merge, and she's definitely going to be playing a huge role in the game moving forward, but I don't feel like I'm getting that winner vibe from her at this moment in time. Next is going to be Hai, and Hai is one who had some big changes in this last night's episode. Definitely was one of my top tier characters for winning initially, and I think if you had asked me last week, he would have been in my S tier of potential winners. But this week, I feel like he dropped a lot. And that's not just because, anything huge strategy-wise that changed this episode, but really, the biggest thing is that prior to all these episodes, we had seen how great of a strategist he was. We were getting a lot of confessionals showing his view of how everything was going on. But this is the first episode where we really got a kind of negative portrayal of Hai. And so whereas last week, where I would have put him as an S tier potential winner, this week he's actually going to drop all the way down to a C tier, because I feel like the edit they gave him this week was actually so negative that the potential for him to be a winner is hugely reduced in my eyes, because in this episode they edited him to look very kind of condescending and overconfident and cocky, and you know that in Survivor, when you're edited to look like that or you start getting to feel like that, that means you're eventually going to get voted out. Typically when we have winners on Survivor, they almost unanimously will have a positive edit all the way through, and so that's why Hai is going to be dropping down from S all the way down to C tier for me this week. Oops, Jenny, you're not supposed to be here. You are already eliminated. And next we're going to have Jonathan, and Jonathan is obviously our favorite challenge beast to watch. He's also playing a great social game, and he is really doing well for himself, also putting himself in the majority alliance and making lots of good social connections. For him, he is continuing to do a great job, still doing well. I just don't really see him being a potential winner compared to some of the other contestants, because he is still that huge challenge threat, and I think at some point he is going to be targeted. And so far, we have gotten content from him. It's all been positive and likable, but we haven't gotten any of that kind of strategic content that we typically will see. I can definitely see him making it far, but he's going to need to win a lot of challenges and really solidify himself on the alliance, and I really think at some point they are going to vote him out. Again, somebody I'm just not really getting winner energy vibes from, so I'm going to put him firmly in the C tier. So he's got potential to win, but definitely kind of on the lower spectrum for me. Next is going to be Lindsey, and this one might surprise you about where I'm going to place her, because she is one character that we've really gotten very minimal content on so far, and what we've seen really so far is that she's in the Taku 4, she's in the majority alliance, she's basically hasn't really done anything. She's played a very under the radar game so far. Physically, she seems to do pretty well in challenges, and socially she also seems to be pretty good. She's always been on the right side of the vote. So for her, I actually think there is potential for her. I feel like next episode, it looks like we're going to get some more content from her, and we haven't gotten any negative content from her so far. So she really has the potential to still blossom into a winner pick, in my opinion. And if we get some more content from her in this next episode, I really still feel like she has pretty high winner potential, and I actually am going to place her above Drea. I'm going to put her in A tier as a potential winner. If we start getting more confessionals from her, this is definitely something that could happen. Drea, I think, is really just too visible. She's too big of a threat. And Lindsey, she's playing this really great under the radar game and really could make it far. Next, I'm going to have Mary Ann, just a very great character to have on Survivor. She's definitely in a somewhat precarious position. We have had some negative scenes with her where she was kind of bothering people at camp, and she was in a fight with Jonathan. And then also at that last challenge in the Merge episode, she was kind of being snappy with her teammates. So for her, I think at this point, she's gotten enough negative edit that we aren't really going to see a winner coming out of her from Mary Ann. So she's going to be solidly D tier. She's still in the game, but I honestly really don't think she has any chance of being the winner at this point in the game. Now, Mike, let's talk about Mike. Wow, this guy is amazing. What a great scene with him with Omar, learning about Islam and his praying as a Muslim. He's been making very good strategic moves, but not anything that's going to put him as a huge threat on people's radar. He's been receiving only positive edits so far, really making the audience really like him and building him up as a great character. He's on the older side. He's actually older than the oldest winner of Survivor, who won at age 57, and Mike is 58. But for him, I think he's going to do well in challenges, but people are not going to really think of him as a good challenge beast because of his age. So honestly, overall, Mike is still in the S tier for me for potential winners. And I think it would be very satisfying to have him as a potential winner. So very excited to see how that plays out. And next, we're going to have Omar, who is obviously also playing a huge game right now. Huge strategy, really good social game. Challenges not so great, but also only positive edits from him so far as well. So he is doing a really good job, and I'm also going to put him on the S tier right now. I do think he's a little bit maybe in a more dangerous position compared to Mike, because Omar right now is still kind of playing both sides a little bit, and he could get caught up in some things if he doesn't do things correctly. And I think he is playing a little bit more of a riskier game than Mike in general, and potentially a more visible game if people start realizing that he's kind of pulling the strings everywhere. But Omar is definitely an S tier potential winner pick for me. Rock Story for me is going to be a D level candidate for winning. For him, he's been out of the vote. He voted the wrong person randomly. The first couple episodes were overwhelmingly negative and portrayed him as this very stubborn, kind of difficult guy to get along with. Strategy-wise, he's pretty weak. I think the last episode during the merge, he definitely had a lot of really great confessionals, but it's still not enough to overrun the massive amount of negative edit he got in the beginning. So there's no way he's going to be our winner pick here. Romeo, I also am going to put in the D tier. He is honestly not playing that bad of a game, but already the edit has been painting him as this paranoid kind of person who really is not in control of things. He's been on the wrong side of the vote. He's already kind of on the precipice of getting voted out, was potentially going to get voted out this episode, and probably high risk of it getting voted out next episode too. So he's going to go solidly in the D tier for me. And next I'm going to have Tori, who is turning out to be quite the challenge beast, and honestly who I thought is going to be a huge challenge beast. But again, she's going to be on the D tier as well, even if she keeps winning all these challenges and is able to cause a lot of chaos at camp. And even if she becomes a huge player who continues to play a huge role in the rest of the game, which I could definitely see for her, I think her being the winner of Survivor is basically a non-existent possibility at this point. I do think that we have more to see from her, though. I'm excited to see what kind of stuff she can stir up in the rest of the season and what role she's going to play moving forward. But definitely in terms of winner, I think she's pretty low for me. So yeah, I would say really these four are going to be my top winner picks: Omar, Mike, Lindsey, and Drea, with the possibility of Hai and Jonathan, but Hai definitely downgraded a lot this week. Lindsey, I think, is my sleeper pick for winning. Mike and Omar, definitely high picks up there. Drea, she's just too visible, too big of a threat. That's, I think, the one thing that's holding me back. But honestly, if I could pick my top three, it's definitely these three right here. Curious to know what your guys' thoughts are, and do you agree with my assessment of who the most likely winners are going to be? Who would you change? I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts down in the comment section down below. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.